I can already smell.
Yeah, here we are. Some fucking shout out. Have you had Maltai before? Is this your first shot? Or
I've definitely had it before.
oh, okay, word. Yeah.
I'm Chinese, bro.
Oh yeah, no, that makes.
Well,
sense.
we don't just guess those things.
Of course not.
I thought you were.
What'd you think he was, man? What did you think he was? Yeah, I want to hear this.
I was trying to come up with a joke there that I could say that wouldn't get me canceled, and I was like, I can't come up with anything that
No,
quickly.
we're all
So,
canceled.
We're all canceled.
yeah.
Cheers to Max and making NFTs great again.
And also cheers.
Cheers.
We got to cheers to the ETF too. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay, yeah. Cheers to the ETF, Gambe.
Gambe.
But
Gambe.
mostly Max and making NFTs great again.
Facts. Every time. Puts a little hair in your balls.
You would think that you would be used to it by now. Come on, man. This is light work.
It's not that I'm not. It's not that I'm not.
It's definitely that you're not. Look at you. You have to get yourself together over the tiniest shot.
It's because it is. When I describe it to people, I'm like, it's the most interesting flavored item that you're ever going to have in your life. But you can't. It's like you introduce yourself to a new type of alcohol. Because I can't call it vodka. I'm not going to call it gin. It's not tequila. It's not whiskey. It's literally, it's Maltai.
I really want someone to make me a Maltai martini.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that would go stupid.
I also feel like you might die that night.
I don't know. You think like a dirty Maltai martini would go crazy?
How many shots of Maltai are you putting in that?
Like 2?
It's a very strong
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how
I don't know.
with
I don't know
olive,
what it goes
I mean,
with.
why not? Try it.
I'm going to get a bartender to do it. Yeah, look at you still getting yourself together. My God cannot handle
My
the
throat's
shots.
hot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Pause.
What up, Max?
Hi.
How you living? How you feeling?
Good. I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a day, boys. What a week again in crypto. Just never a dull week.
Another one.
Another one.
What happened this week?
I mean, we
My
can
guy's like, I'm heads down.
Yeah, I don't know what's
I'm
going
building.
on. Yeah.
we can run through the headlines. We got the ETH NFT news comes out a few days ago that it looks like I mean, this is the part we actually need to talk about. Did Malcolm DeGods change the course of crypto politics in the United States? Like, that's what we actually need to be asking ourselves right now. Because for people who don't know, Malcolm DeGods and Frank go to Mar-a-Lago, right? And they get to meet former President Trump, and they ask him the question of basically, are you going to support cryptocurrency? He comes out and says, like, we're going to make it easier for people to operate with crypto in the U.S. And that clip goes stupid viral, not just in the NFT world that we live in, but all over finance
reached.
Twitter, crypto Twitter, political Twitter. It went everywhere. And now all of a sudden, a week or so, 2 weeks later, however long it's been, it comes out that basically the SEC is kind of relaxing on some of this stuff. It looks like now we've got different people that are being appointed in different positions. Now all of a sudden we get the news that the ETF looks like it's about to be approved any day now. By the time this comes out, it could already be approved. And then on top of that, now we got people on CNBC talking about a Solana ETF being next up. Let's go.
Listen, DeGods saved crypto in the U.S.
That's
I
facts.
said it.
The haters don't want
said
it.
it.
They
They
don't
don't
want to
want
admit
it,
it.
yeah.
Man, but
They said, oh, that clip wasn't going to be that crazy or nothing like that. All I'm saying is that a couple other things that I seen was like somebody like had posted, I guess, like a text from the administration on the other side, Biden's administration, talking about like Trump has cryptocurrency and leaders and other like this people like investing into his donation. We haven't met our goals yet. And like Trump is over here taking donations in crypto, and we talked about this with when OG was on last week, just a little bit about it. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, that might have kind of just like revved up a little bit. Like we know it's going to be a huge topic coming up into this election. Like crypto is just going to be an enormous topic. Like normies are going to start paying attention, and it's going to get real interesting. But yeah, look at DeGods.
look at DeGods.
And they say attention means nothing.
And they say attention means nothing. Crazy. But that was a beautiful thing. It was what a wild week for DeGods too. On top. Oh, actually, before we dump.
Yeah,
into
we gotta
that,
get
gotta. Max, welcome to the podcast, man. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Yeah, Max, give like a. Okay, here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
No, we don't want that elevator
No.
pitch.
We need the elevator pitch, Max.
I want your background in DeGods because for the people that don't know,
but outside of DeGods,
no, because for the people that don't know, this man reps so hard for DeGods. Like I've seen him at Breakpoint with his fucking PFP. He was rocking the DeGods PFP, building on Solana while we were on ETH. Like my guy just like he goes crazy. So give it back on yourself, but also like would love to hear about your DeGods history as well because it's just like. The only reason I want to highlight that is because my guy really, like, he's been fucking going hard for us for such a long time, and people need to know that.
That's fair. Yeah, go for it, Max.
I appreciate that, Sonny. I really like that you remember the Breakpoint thing because I was at Breakpoint. I think it was 2023. I had like a talk about like what the future of NFTs might be, and I was wearing the DeGods shirt, and then all the Solana people were like, "What the fuck? Like they left us." But the way I've always felt about it was just my favorite NFT project, and like it, regardless of what chain it would succeed on, whether that was ETH or now thankfully back on Sol, like I felt that was just a win for like broader crypto. Just a little bit about myself. I'm Max. I'm the founder of Sniper XYZ, formerly SolSniper, but most people still call it SolSniper anyways.
I was gonna say I still call it SolSniper.
Yeah, everyone just calls it SolSniper. I was thinking about actually renaming it back to SolSniper. I think the domain sniper.xyz is kind of hard.
It is kind of hard.
It's fire.
Yeah,
I paid like 10 racks for that domain, but
wait, but could you get SolSniper.xyz too and just have it redirect?
I have them both.
Oh, have it.
So
redirect?
right now, like if you go to SolSniper.xyz, it goes to Sniper. But like, yeah, I don't really care what you call it, but I've been
Sniper is crazy though.
Sniper's
kind of fire.
It's
hard.
hard.
As
Yeah,
fuck.
I've been working on it for almost 3 years now. So like real OG Solana builder. Back in the day, it was like DeGods were like very much an aspirational purchase. Like I didn't have DeGods in the early days because I didn't mint it at 3. But when I met Frank at the Solana Hacker House, this was 2022.
That LA Hacker House?
Yeah, the LA Hacker House. That's where I met Frank. DeGods were at 10 Sol. Frank was like really chill about it. Like he wasn't like shilling, but it was like, oh shit, like the DeGods, like it's cool. And then I had one friend, Sam. He was at the Hacker House. He had like 30 DeGods or something crazy, and he was like, "Dude, I'm so bullish on DeGods." I was like, "Fuck!" Like I wish I could get one, but at the time it was like, 2 racks or 3 racks, something like that. And I was like, "Bro, I don't have money like that. I need to like, I think." After that, I got a Famous Fox, and that was like my first like big NFT purchase. And then after a few months, I had a DeGod. I got the Ute 2, and then when they left to ETH, that's when I started actually hanging out more with Frank from there because we had both been kind of like game recognized game. Like he's built this amazing like community with DeGods, and we are like really hardcore product builders, and he just always fucked with the product. Like I remember back in the day when DeGods were like still on Sol, they would do these streams where they would be in a room and it'd be Sniper, and then every time the activity feed like a DeGod buy would go through, they'd like cheer a little bit, and that was like that it warms my heart. And then from there, recently, right, like DeGods, they wanted to come back to Solana, and we were like, bro, like I'm welcoming you back, open arms. And so once they dropped that alpha, I was like, bro, like let's get our entire community to ape into DeGods. We genuinely believe this is the best NFT project in crypto. And so, it was like within like a weekend, our whole community like probably aped in like 100 racks, and like we probably have like 30-40 DeGods people in there that weren't DeGods before. And then now yesterday
I just want to say too, he bought after we mentioned the bridge, because I remember that we mentioned the bridge in that tweet, and that's what he bought. So Max was really on the alpha.
It was Sonny. Sonny was the.
I don't even want to get the credit. I'm just saying he bought.
Okay, I'll take the credit. I'll take the.
No, it was. That's facts. That's facts. That was the alpha.
Because that's what I remember. Like literally, probably like a week after that.
Yes.
Sniper going crazy. You, Jared, fucking everybody. Like
Jared and I, we always loved DeGods, right? But we're like, oh, they're on ETH, but whatever. Like we'll rock them anyways, right? And then Jared, he hit me up one day. It was like it was like a Friday afternoon after work or so. I was at the dog park, and Jared's like, "Yo, I think DeGods might come back to Solana. Like, there was a sunny tweet. I don't know if you deleted it or whatever.
No, it's still there.
He was like,
I got some shit for it, but I left it up.
He was like, there was like a sunny tweet. We gotta like talk to them. I was like, all right, bet. Like, let's talk to them. Let's figure it out. And then if that's what's going down, like, we gotta send it, dude. Because like, it's just there's really no other NFT project we like believe in more. I think. Regardless of what people say about the art upgrades or whatever, it's like still the best art. It's still the best community. I think it's like one of those things where I'm a big believer in the efficient market hypothesis, right? It's like, to me, like I always try to think about things from like first principles. Like when I bought Solana, right, it was and like when I chose to build on Solana, it was very much like first principles. Like, this is a faster, better, cheaper chain, and technology needs to be better, faster, and cheaper. And that's why I believe in Solana, right? And
that's
so
bars for Solana.
Yeah. That's how I feel about DeGods, right? You look at like WIF, right? It's like, $3 billion market cap or whatever, but it's like, bro, it's like, where's the community? Like, where's the relevance? Like, I'm on Twitter, I don't see a bunch of WIF PFPs running around like screaming at me. And so it's just one of those things where like, my belief in DeGods is really just like, dude, like, I still think they're like one of the most relevant things in crypto. And we really love it. Like, we believe.
Yeah, facts.
Relevancy, I think, is more than half the battle in this whole shit that we're in. Because if you're not relevant, there's not a whole lot of like room for success if you're not relevant and taking up attention on the timeline. And even in people's wallets, like I definitely always find projects where like I'm like, damn, I haven't heard about that before, but it's pretty successful, but it's relevant somewhere, right? Like it to some like corner of the internet or a Telegram chat, Discord. It's relevant, and it's irrelevant in a big way. And if you don't have relevancy and you're not able to gain relevancy, it's harder to keep your brand just in front of people's eyes. And like the more people see your brand, it's just. They're just going to get attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that whole, like, marketing thing where it's like someone has to see something like, what is it? Like,
seven times?
Seven times?
Yeah.
Right? You see it 7 times. And I think in this space, it's kind of like, yeah, that 7 times thing. But I honestly think it's like you have to see it hundreds of times because our attention is going in so many different directions on a daily basis. And the fact that people are even still, like, just wanting to tweet about DeGods, like, there's so many other projects that I'm sure wish either good or bad that people would just talk about them on the timeline.
That's like the issue. And it's like one of those things where like, as controversial as it's been from like bridging back and forth to the art upgrades and like, all this shit, like the way I kind of see it is like, dude, all that attention is good attention. And at the same time, like, I think what kind of, to me, like this meme coin super cycle is really proving is like, a lot of these assets are going to be a lot more based off of like attention, culture, and community. And like, there's an organic like metric there. I don't know what it is, right? I like to think about it as like super fans. And it's like when I kind of boil down projects to super fans, it's like there's not really a bigger project maybe in crypto or like at least in NFTs that has more super fans. And so that's like really kind of what I'm looking at. And that's like the alpha that I'm looking at in terms of like why it's like I'm personally buying DeGods and our community is really bullish on DeGods.
100%. I mean, I think when people look at it, it's like, regardless of whether they like Frank, whether they don't like Frank, whether they like DeGods, whether they don't like DeGods, whether they hold some or don't hold some or whatever, it's a conversation starter every single time. And so people can say whatever they want. It's like when there is any sort of news that comes out about DeGods, it becomes a conversation point. And even the people that don't want to talk about it, whatever, like, you can't say you're not interested in it because, again, it creates controversy every single time. No matter what decision is being made, it creates controversy every single time. And I do think when it comes to crypto, when it comes to not even, honestly, beyond crypto, when you think about things that are relevant in just culture in general, it's, do you really know if you have relevancy of when you make a move, do other people talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And that is the truth of it, whether people like it or not. So there are people that will, that are, when you take, like, let's take crypto out of it, right?
Yeah, I was related to, like, rap or NBA, where it's just, like, something LeBron does, people are always going to talk about it.
100%.
Something Drake does or Kendrick does or J. Cole or whoever.
Or Taylor Swift or Taylor Swift, whatever,
like,
yeah.
These, like, major heads in just pop culture and culture alone, it's just, like, people are paying attention to it. and they have an opinion, a very strong opinion either way, right? Like, you know, Drake drops an album. It's like either you got the people that are like, yo, I fuck with this album, or it's like, I fucking hate this album. Or same with Travis Scott, like same with Kendrick, Kanye, whatever. You just have the people that are like putting out art, and it's to a degree of like either you really, really like fuck with it or you don't. Or you go to basketball and it's like either you fuck with this game or you don't fuck with this game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people will try and pick apart a 30-point triple-double by LeBron and be like, well, this is why it actually was terrible.
Yeah. And that at the end of the day means you have staying power because you have relevancy. Like, people want to pay attention to what you do. And so, again, all day, every day, people can hate on certain things, whatever. I would always ask people the question of, would you miss that person if they were gone? And I think the answer is always going to be yes. Even if you think you hate somebody, even if, like, I mean, take, for example, like a Tom Brady type, right? There's plenty of people that hated Tom Brady when he was in the NFL because it was like, damn, I feel like my team doesn't even have a chance to win a Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. The game's not as fun when the guy's gone. It'll be the same thing when LeBron's gone.
Him.
It's the same thing when Patrick Mahomes retires someday.
Curry,
like Steph...
There's no way you're telling me that the game is not going to miss Steph Curry.
Well, no. But I'm saying, are we putting him up in the boat of
hell yes. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Mark?
We have two Bear natives
the
here.
Greatest shooter of all time, the dude.
Wait, we're not talking about Caitlin Clark.
Literally the reason why NBA players and teams shoot as many threes now and even fucking
game,
pull up. Revolutionize the game. You're telling me they're not going to miss Steph?
This is how these podcasts
Are you kidding me?
Are
you kidding me?
We have two Bear natives
bro,
here. We
I swear,
Steph,
bro. It's not even about loving Steph. If you don't think Steph has left an impact on the game where the game is going to miss him when he's gone, you are nuts.
100%.
And your NBA takes are bad.
Oh, okay. You're bad.
And your NBA takes are bad.
And you have to chop something off?
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy's Sonny. Listen. Going back to the main point of the subject, because otherwise this is how these episodes end up an hour and a half.
Say Steph Curry, the game's gonna miss him.
Yes, the game will miss Steph. Okay.
You made him
God, this guy. Hey, I want to point out something else. I'm looking for another podcast host. So, Max, are you free once a week? Because
you're not looking. You
can play pickleball afterwards.
Yes,
you would
I'm
miss
down.
me so much. Mark likes to act like he could fucking just do without me. You know you can't. Come on, Mark. Tell me you love me.
Love you, Sonny. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Get back to the
back on track.
Yeah.
Back on track. Relevancy. So, my God, if anybody listens to these episodes, thank you, because I don't know.
We love you.
Yeah, we do truly, because you listen to our bullshit. But with that,
we make people laugh.
We do. We're easy to laugh at. But with that,
you are.
It's relevancy again is something that like people. It matters. It really does matter. It matters in all aspects of all different types of cultures and things like that. And so again, DeGods is relevant. When they make moves, people talk about it. When Yuga makes moves, people talk about it. When
the crypto punks. Oh man.
When they roll out some incredible art, people talk about it. Like all these different things. Like again, relevancy is important, and to act like it doesn't matter is just. I mean, honestly, like what are we talking about? It matters, and so
attention economy, man.
Yeah. So okay, Max, gotta ask you. Season 3 art just came out, right?
Yeah.
For DeGods.
No art upgrade.
Okay.
It's off chain.
True.
Let's talk about this.
True.
It didn't actually come out. It leaked. To me, this is like the equivalent of like an artist putting out like a project without actually putting out a project. They leak the album, leak the mixtape.
It's like them putting it on DatPiff back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe not even DatPiff. Like you had to just find it off of like
LimeWire or some shit.
Yeah. Shady website.
So but the art comes out. And technically, we'll call it technically for purposes of this conversation, season 3.33 art, right? And it becomes one of the largest debates we've had in DeGods in the last easily. I would say since season 3, the biggest thing that people have talked about is this art is technically off chain, so you're not going to open up your Phantom wallet and see it.
And they gave
things
you
like
the
that.
final version in your wallet,
right? So. Max, what were your thoughts on that? And you could be honest, whether you love that decision, hate that decision. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think so funny story is like we kind of had the alpha that there was going to be an art upgrade, right? And so like 6 hours before the actual art upgrade, we were like, you know, getting our engineering team already. Like we're like, all right, like once this link chains, like we're going to refresh our cache and like all this shit. And then I remember waking up to a message from Jared, because he's in Australian time, so I went to bed. And he was like, dude, this art grade was not what we thought it was going to be. And so I think like a little part of me is like definitely disappointed in the sense where, you know, it wasn't like this like hugely amazing art upgrade that was going to deliver upon whatever the expectations might be. However, I think it's like one of those things where I think like kind of from at least me like seeing what Frank has said about it, like I think the gist of it is like no matter what art upgrade they could have given, like subjectively, like it wouldn't have met whatever's people's expectations would be. That like if you look at all of the art upgrades, right, season 2 was the best because it was just this like new thing that like no one had ever tried to do.
Nobody expected it.
No one ever even tried to do like an art upgrade before for an NFT
without
project.
diluting their art.
Yeah, exactly. And so sorry, as I was saying, is like it was just this like really novel thing, and it did this like it was amazing and everybody loved it and it sent the price and all of this stuff. And then it's gone to the point where like basically every single project, not DeGods, that's tried to do an art upgrade afterwards has like failed. And then similarly, right, like season 3 failed. And so it like I think
putting it lightly.
I think for them it's like for like season 3.33, right? It was like one of those things where they had all this art and they wanted to give it to the world, but they didn't want to kind of like turn it into like, oh, here's another art upgrade and then like kind of relive the whole like season 3 experience again. So I think it makes a lot of sense like from their team, like and why they made that decision. I think it's like definitely controversial. It's hard to say, like maybe the counterfactual or whatever where like they did go all in on this new art upgrade. Maybe it does really well, but I also don't know. I think it could have gone either way, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that was the biggest part to me is like when DeGods happened, right? Mm-hmm. It was such an experience from not only was it like, oh, we're getting an art upgrade, there's no dilution. They were teasing traits, and it was kind of like, you know, if we look back at original DeGods art, it's like DeGods art was like cool, but there was like kind of a lot of ugly ones too. And I think overall it was kind of like it was good for like when the time that it came out. But when they did the upgrade, there was even so many people that didn't have DeGods that was like, oh, like I should have listened to you after seeing the DeGods art. Like this shit is fucking like amazing. Like it was a true just like the upgrade from season 1 to season 2 was so crazy and so big that when they were doing season 3 last year and doing it, like I had mentioned this as well, that's like one, I just don't think you can recreate the feeling of like going from that like first art to the second art. And then 2, I just like, how does this art get better? You know what I'm saying? Like to me, there was like, how, like, what do you do to cause that same sort of jump? And I feel like maybe it was kind of more like a minor jump for other people that were like, oh, I rather prefer my season 3 versus the DeGods one. But like, even myself, like I had never updated my DeGod to the season 3. Like I never like did it, nothing like that, because for me, it was like, I like my DeGods art, and that's the like the PFP that I'm rocking. That's what I'm going with, and that was part of it too. It's like you can choose, and I know they had this whole direction of like we're always gonna keep it fresh and like seasons and things like that. But I think through just doing that and experimenting of like, yo, let's go from DeGods to actually putting out other art and then seeing what the feedback was, it was kind of just like, yo, this fell flat really, because how do we cause that same level of excitement around like it being that big of a jump from like what your DeGods art was? It's
a diminishing marginal return, right? It's like you upgrade the art once, amazing, right? And then you upgrade it twice, like this isn't what I wanted. Yeah. And now it's like at the point where it's like it's so subjective, where it's like, well, I like this and that. And I think like really kind of like what the off-chain art upgrade kind of accomplishes is because like a lot of people already have custom edits anyways. Like even my DeGod that I rock, I have a custom edited like sniper shirt on it. And I think that's kind of what like that off-chain art provides, is like now you can kind of just build your own edits. So I think like maybe something that like I probably think would have been better is like the narrative around it. Maybe it shouldn't have been like art upgrade like 3.33. Maybe like not teasing the art upgrade is like probably the better move, so that way they didn't set that kind of expectation. But you know, we can't change what happened, then we got to move on.
I think that's the biggest part that we all have to keep in mind with all of this shit is like there's no easy decision in any of this, especially in the state of the NFT market right now, right? And so I think when you think back to season 3, I think people had obviously such high expectations, right? And then season 3 comes out, it's a fucking disaster to the nth degree. And with that, I think there's no doubt there's like apprehension then of like, well, hey, if the next art that we put out is not loved, we've got an even greater problem. And I think the problem with art is that art is always subjective, and so there's going to be certain art that people like. You said that you actually like the season 1 art. I think season 1 art is trash. Like I hated it.
No, I didn't say I liked it. I liked it for my personal DeGod.
Okay.
But I thought a lot of it was like it was not good. I think it was good for that time period when we were first seeing what NFTs on Solana look like.
Okay, fair. I hated it from the jump. The only reason why I got into DeGods because I like the energy. I liked kind of the mindset of kind of like that fuck you energy. I always loved that, and that's what got me into it. The reason why I didn't go and buy a ton more was because I hated the art. I was like, it just does nothing for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then but I loved the mindset, and so that's what really bought me in. Then DeGods comes out. I absolutely love DeGods. And then I remember a conversation I had with Frank over the summer last year where he was like, you know, what are you expecting from season 3 art? And I was like, I don't really know. Like,
brother, I love my PFP.
Yeah, I was like, to be honest, like, there's probably nothing that you can do that I would change my PFP for. So I was like, I don't really care what you do because like, there's zero chance I'm changing my PFP. So therefore, like, do whatever. And so then when they came out with season 3 art, like my God looked terrible with it, and I was like, yeah, like and it was like
I didn't like my God either with season 3 art.
Yeah, and it just didn't look good. And again, it was like I wasn't changing my PFP regardless, but I was like, damn, like I understand why people are so upset about this because yeah, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look good. And then, but that's the part about art is that there might be somebody else who's listening to this who's like, actually, I take that back. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who was like, my season 3 DeGod is why I bought my DeGod. And I'm like, okay, hey, fair. That's why art is subjective. Like, he loved it. I don't. That's up to them. But then when, and that's where I think Frank's mindset comes from with this, is that you're never going to have unanimous 100% everybody loves this, right? And so I think
the only unanimous was DeGods.
But even that, though, there's still people that were like...
I just feel like it was more towards the end of like 80-20, maybe 70-30, than it was like 50-50.
But there's always somebody who's like, I don't like the maggot beard. I don't like the sticks in the head. So you're never going to appease everybody. And I think that's where the mindset went with the team of like, okay, at this point, we can't just keep pushing art upgrades, because if we do that, then basically what's going to happen is like we're always going to run the risk of like more of the community hating it than loving it. And that's going to cause obviously a huge negative effect on the project. And so I look at it now and I'm like, in my mind, would I love if season 3.33 art was like the final art and was the final like and from here on out it's not changed and things like that, or there's like some, you know, off-chain mechanics afterwards, whatever. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I also understand why this is such a difficult decision. And I think the thing that I try to keep in mind with this is that there's nobody, including all 3 of us on the couch, including most community members, and not most, all community members, nobody puts more time and energy into DeGods than the actual team itself. So if there's a reason why they're not doing something, I have to trust that they are doing the right thing with it. Now, I know they've heard the feedback. I know they've heard people who are unhappy that this art is not on chain. And who knows what they'll decide. Because Frank can say all day, every day, this is the final decision. We all know Frank changes his mind all the time.
I mean, you have to pivot.
You have to. So my thing is, we'll see what happens. Do I believe that the art will never change again? No. I mean, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, no. Like, I'm gonna keep it. It's because Frank understands that there are times in life where you have to pivot, and you can say, "Oh, I said this one thing a month ago, 6 months ago,
we've
whatever.
Seen that happen so many times.
Yeah,
so many times.
We've seen that. We literally just talked about the beginning of this episode, like the current administration, changing their mind on crypto because of shit they've had to do.
If the government can pivot,
Frank
DeGods
can
can too.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
And so, the way I look at it now is like we have to be accepting of the fact of pivots are going to happen. I do understand, like, Frank is the type, and I think this is, and I'm curious to hear you guys' take on this. I think Frank is the type of person that, like, brainstorms out loud. And so he'll go into a Twitter space, and he'll just brain dump on everything that he's thinking in that moment. But when he speaks, a lot of times he speaks in terms of, like, this is what we're going to do, right? And he's saying that because he wants to get real criticism back, real, constructive ideas back, yada, yada, yada. But then the hard part is when you word it that way, people then go, okay, this is 100% what they're doing.
People like stick things onto Frank and be like, well, you said this in a Twitter space. Where's that at? Or you said this. Where's that at?
Which I believe, like, you set yourself up for that. When you say these things publicly, you set yourself up for that.
I think he's been better because he did that, regardless of the people that have stuck things to him or held things or whatever. Those times when he was going in spaces and getting active feedback and, like, mentioning things that they were going to do and all this stuff, like, led to some of the greatest things. Like, he was on a spaces run for like 2 months, and then scholarships comes out, like, and we know, or whatever, useless comes out. We know how crazy useless went after that, but, like, that also came from, like, months of, like, figuring out certain feedback and going into spaces and, like, kind of ideating on that out loud and in public.
And I think that's where the positive is. When you ideate in public, you can get some great ideas, you can get some great constructive criticism, everything like that. But they're also going to hold you to what you talked about publicly. And I think that's where I'm excited for this next version of Frank, because I think every great builder, no matter who you are, no matter what chain you're operating on, whether you're working in crypto, whether you're working in something completely else, like, you evolve from situations like this and you become better as a result of it. And so I'm looking forward to that. And again, I think it's like, it's one of those things where I think communicating with people in general, friends, people you work with, in this instance, like all of crypto Twitter, or, relationships or family or whatever, you're communicating with people all the time, and you're constantly learning how to better communicate with people. And I think that's the period that Frank is going through now, where he realizes, I do need to be a little bit more careful about what I say publicly, because people are going to hold me to that, and I can't blame them for holding me to that. At the same time, I do like to ideate. I do like to just brainstorm out loud. And I think he'll come up with the best way to do that. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they start doing a weekly Discord, whatever call, and people can join in that. Or maybe there's, I don't know, maybe something else comes of this. But I think at this point, the problems are understood. The community sentiment is understood. We'll see where they go from here.
I think it's just like, I think it's okay to hold people to what they say. And when you ask them about it, like, they can answer you, and then you can figure out whether you appreciate that answer or not. Because I'm sure, Max, how many times have you probably said certain things of, like, things are coming out for Sniper, and it's kind of like, hey, yeah, we got to pivot away from that. It doesn't really make sense, or it doesn't matter at all, right?
That's exactly what happens. Like, I think it's like one of those things where, like, there's been, like, feature requests and bugs, and, like, we want to do all those things, but it's like we only have the bandwidth to really do one thing at a time.
And is it priority enough?
Yeah. There's also one really interesting phenomenon. I think really, like, it happens a lot more with Frank than, like, with me, right? Where I feel like a lot of people, they almost look at him like a messiah figure or whatever, and so they pin their own, like, hopes and dreams on, like, oh, he's gonna do this, like, because there's been a few times where, like, people are like, yo, this is a psyop. Like, I remember season 3, they're like, this is a psyop, this isn't the real art, they're gonna drop the real art, and it's like, I think I've kind of seen a little bit of that from this one too. Like, this is a psyop, he's like letting us try out the art, and then we're gonna get the real art. It's like, no, like, we just got to take the guy at face value, and, like, that what he says, that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah. No, I think face value is important. And, going back to the art, like, going back to the art a little bit as well, I think the thing is like, when mentioning that, I feel like DeGods was a little bit more unanimous. I just think that there was a higher amount of people that really, really fucked with the art. Whereas, like, when you look at season 3, and I was even talking with someone about 3.33, it's like, technically the only 3.33s that you're seeing on the timelines are the one that look really good. But if you update the entire 10K collection, he was like, there's a lot of them that don't look good. Yeah. And so it's kind of just like, if you update the entire thing to 3.33 in people's wallets, it's going to be like, well, what about the people that don't like it and all this thing? And I think going back to DeGods and just kind of making that final version is just because it's like, that's the one that like really like went off. So like, I think to a certain degree, right? And just like, you know, some gods look better season 3 versus others and all that sort of thing. But I think getting off to this off-chain thing, it's like, bro, in DeGods lore, like people have been rocking custom traits for the longest time.
Facts.
Like shout out to Rippity. The ones that know Rippity
Facts.
know Rippity, because he was the original I'm making traits for your DeGod.
That was a hard O. I've never heard anybody say it.
Anyway.
Original.
Anyways.
That was the hardest O I've ever heard.
Anyways, making the Killer 3s jerseys and the hats during the first season and all these other traits. Like, he was the first person to do these custom traits, and then you've had other people along the way. Shout out to Strike, AGZ. Like, we've seen traits come out for both the Utes and DeGods communities, and people, even when the first white paper came out and they were talking about trait marketplaces and things like that, like technically they're kind of in path to like empower some of these artists more about their traits and like including them as like official traits that people can get like off chain and things. And it's funny how people were calling for that so long ago, and now it makes the same people mad to see that happen. Like the same people that have been around for a long time are now like upset, like, oh, off-chain art this, off-chain art that, because now that directive's coming from the team, it's not just like artists making edits for people anymore, right? And I don't know, to me, the whole on-chain versus off-chain, I'm just like, your DeGod is almost like you could treat it as whatever you want it. You could be like, yo, I want to make the official one only my PFP. That's kind of my stance on it. I want to make like the official traits, and I just feel like for my personal aesthetic, like the one that I have like sticks out the way that it does. But if you want to customize it or anything like that, people have been doing that. I think now there's just like a little bit more support behind it. And to me, your DeGod is more like your base layer. And what you want to dress on that, like, by all means, do your thing.
Okay, so I got an idea while we were just having this conversation. So I'm gonna propose this idea. I'll just put this on the timeline, let Frank find out about it from that. So here's
be the worst shit ever.
No, here's what I would like to see happen. I think when you think about music, right? There's plenty of times an artist puts out a song and then a remix becomes huge. And one of the remixes that drops on SoundCloud or whatever becomes so massive that becomes the version that people actually enjoy the most, love the most, whatever, right? And so some people love listening to the original, some people love listening to the remix, but people are loving the song regardless. So in my perfect world, this is what I would like to see happen. I'm fine with them not changing the art on-chain from now on. That's fine. Keep the art the way it is, whatever. I'm fine with it. It is what it is. But what I think would be dope is if you go onto the DeGods website and you log in DID, whatever, it pulls up your DeGod, and with that, it gives you a downloadable version of DeGod Season 1, DeGod Season 2, the one that's on-chain, DeGod Season 3, DeGod Season 3.33, and then there's another section with like a fan art section where if somebody goes through and they remix every single trait, you can see the like AGZ version of your DeGod. Or if like Pencils redid, DeGods into some new crazy thing, it would have the Pencils version. Or like how Utes had Smile Club did the Smile Club version, right? So it gives you like a remix of your original DeGod, and now you can rock whatever version you want. It's not necessarily like a trait, thing where you could actually go in and click, I want this trait, that trait, this trait, that trait, but where it just takes your DeGod, it takes your metadata.
Like
and
the traits that you have.
The traits that you have, and shows you various different versions of it. And that would allow for community members, whoever, to come up with really cool traits that people could then have on their DeGod. Like, I think that would be a really cool way to do it. And maybe, who knows? Who knows what that inspires? Who knows what that allows? But that allows for artists to create really cool shit, for the community to find a way to see it, for artists to gain relevancy by basically, like, if you go through and you redo every single trait, and then your version, your, trait pack, essentially, is on the DeGods website, people can find out about your art through that. Like, I think there's a lot of cool ways that you can do that. But again, I do understand not just constantly doing art upgrades on-chain moving forward. I understand why that's difficult. And I also understand not wanting to drastically change the way DeGods look, because that also hurts the IP. So you need to have ways to allow people to be creative and also maintain the IP that's already been established. And I think this is a great way of doing it. That's my take. I'm gonna put that out there. Who knows? Maybe somebody else will brainstorm off that, come up with something even better.
That's a little bit of a good segue into hybrid NFTs, because that's a little bit of like what you could potentially do just with the NFTs that are also attached to tokens, is like this aspect of like specific traits coming out and using the token to like get that onto your NFT, and like, you know, I know it's like off chain, but like that kind of stuff keeps you I guess like on chain, or allows you to get like certain versions. I'm not saying DeGods is going hybrid, but it's just like, if something like that were to come up, or, you know, even through DID, it's like there's like, you know, like how they were trying to do with like trait marketplaces, and you can utilize dust for certain things or something like that. Like, could be kind of crazy. But
we'll see.
I mean, getting into hybrids.
Let's get into it.
We got to go straight into it with the man that is trying to put hybrids on his back and make NFTs really fucking great. Sniper Gang, Sniper XYZ. Tell us a little bit about hybrid NFTs. Like,
man.
for the people that, I don't know, just like haven't been paying attention to it. I think it's something where there's still a lot of attention that is rising for hybrid NFTs, and I think we're also just like finding where like I don't know, I guess like good projects are, anticipating future projects that are coming out that we think are going to do well in this realm, and hopefully get some of that relevancy and attention.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like, I think like at a high level, for people that aren't familiar with hybrid NFTs, they can also be called 404s. Like, there's a bunch of like random names, hybrid DeFi. But basically all it is it means that you can convert NFTs to tokens and vice versa. Like, back in the day, like I think in 2021, a lot of firms that were working on like similar solutions called it like NFT fractionalization. It's actually the same thing. So it's very basic in that sense, where it's like, okay, now I can have an NFT and turn that into tokens. So at Sniper, we've been one of the leading marketplaces and also the leading launch pad for these hybrid DeFi projects. We just did this launch. It's actually happening right now. It's called Slap City. And I think
that's why we were late, by the way, Mark. I just want to point that out.
The hour late you were talking about?
We were cooking.
we were
yeah?
cooking.
You know?
Okay.
We were
We're
cooking.
cooking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slap City, bitch.
Slap City. The reason why it's like really cool, I think, for new NFT launches, right, is like, I think a couple things, right? It's like it brings in this whole new segment of potential users. So before you had like kind of the NFT people, and then the DeFi people were just kind of like isolated, right? And so it's like, how do we bring like NFT people to like the larger crypto community, and then at the same time, like, how do we also get that same liquidity and volume? So for example, in like Solana DeFi, it's like $2 to $3 billion of volume a day, right? Versus NFT markets, like we're looking at $2 to $3 million, not including like point farming, wash trading bullshit, right? And so the way I kind of see it is like, it's like 100 to 1,000x larger market. And so like the goal is like, how do we like bring NFTs and put them in that like more efficient, more like widely accepted vehicle? So that's kind of the way we see it. We think like one really interesting thing that I see as well is like, I feel like back in 2021, like crypto was actually a lot more immature, where it was like NFT projects to me felt like fake stock market projects. Like, oh, like I'm going to raise $5 million and I'm going to give you a PFP, and now I'm going to go build some B2B SaaS product that nobody gives a shit about. Versus
DeGods.
now I feel like, no, not DeGods, but
to a certain point, we got there a little bit. We got back to the anti-corporate,
but
for a little bit though.
Yeah. I feel you, but it's like one of those things where like that was like such a vibe, and that was like just what the market wanted at the time, and that was what it felt like crypto was doing. It was just trying to be this.
Everybody was trying to like attach a business onto their, and especially like as we got more into the like early on, when like DeGods and like a couple of those projects were minting, it's like people were minting based off this aspect of like community, and like this community is really great and that sort of thing. And that was kind of the basis.
Right.
And then we kind of veered away from that, where everybody was like, what business are you attaching onto your NFT before mint? Like,
exactly. And it's like, I'm not investing in that business. And it just felt like weird fake stocks, right? And then I think like what we've kind of seen recently with like the meme coin super cycle on like Solana, right, where like you have like Bonk and Whiff like going to $1 billion assets, right, is like you don't have to be that. And like crypto is so much more about these decentralized, these tokenized communities. And I think like that's kind of the way that at least us at Sniper really see the product market fit, really see where we can bring NFTs. I call it product culture fit, where it's like, how do we actually make NFTs like culturally relevant and cool and in this type of asset that everyone's going to accept? And so I think that's like kind of like my thesis and why like at Sniper, when we first started to see this, like we've been like staring at this since like November, basically. There was a really OG project. It was called Souls. Are you guys familiar with Souls?
No.
It was like the first Solana inscription. So it came out of that.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
BRC20 culture, where people were like inscribing shit, right? But that was actually where hybrid DeFi was born, because what happened was these Souls people, they inscribed some like kind of stupid fucking picture of like this purple S, right? And then they got really bullish on it, and they got so bullish that like they went and then they launched a token, and that token could convert into that NFT. It got listed on MEXC, and for like a week, Souls was trading as like a top 5 NFT collection. They had a day, because we're seeing all this activity from like Sniper, right? They had a day where they did like 200,000 Soul volume, and it was like the craziest like NFT market day we had seen in like years. This is like OK Bears or something like that. And so once we saw that, it was like that kind of flipped the switch in my head. So it's been something we've been working on for like 8 months now. And yeah, the main idea was just like, wow, you can really kind of bring in the liquidity, you can bring in the community, like a couple really like interesting examples, right? Like we've been doing this hybrid pre-sale thing. You can actually have now way more holders in your project. Like one really big kind of paradigm shift is you've turned your community from discrete intervals into a continuous interval. Well, so what that means is like basically before it's like if I had an NFT mint, right, and it was 1 Soul, if I only had 3 Soul, I can only get 3 of those NFTs. Or if I had 0.5 Soul, I couldn't get one of those NFTs. Now, because it's tokens, that it's basically a fractionalized version of NFTs, you can actually put in 1 Lamport, the smallest possible unit on Solana, into one of these hybrid pre-sales and get 1 Lamport back of the token. And so now you can, instead of a community where you had maybe 500 holders, now you can have 5,000 holders. We're hoping 50,000 holders, maybe even in the future, like more than that. So that's kind of like a couple of the reasons why we're so like bullish on it, both like kind of from a cultural perspective, but also from like a fundamentals and like technical perspective as well.
That's fair. So, okay, so here's my question for you, because I think when you think about how past cycles have worked, when people mention meme coins in 2022 or even 2023 for a lot of people, it was considered like you were kissing your reputation goodbye, right? If you're publicly showing a meme coin, everything like that, right?
It's so crazy how that was the case.
Crazy.
Right? Like, because now
it's almost like you're like, why aren't you talking about meme coins?
Now we taking shots of Malta on a podcast.
Right. So fast forward to now, obviously talking about meme coins is very normalized, things like that. But one of the things with meme coins is that we have meme coins that rug every single day. And it is, it's a frustrating thing. It can be, if you're talking about like pumped out fun, like, some people like the risk, they like the gamble. They're, kind of down to fuck around and find out sort of thing. Right. But obviously when it comes to 404s and to NFT projects, I think a lot of people have PTSD from all the different Balloonsville and all the different projects that hard rugged in, 2022, 2023, things like that.
Right.
And so when 404s first started getting talked about, I would say beginning part of this year, I think there was a lot of really, really bullish sentiment for 404s, right? I think we then kind of took a punch in the mouth, right, with everything with Trees and Fluffy and some of these others that didn't go over well, or in Trees' instance, literally rugged. And so I guess, like, what are your thoughts on how do we avoid that? Because while that is normalized in meme coins, it's not normalized in NFTs. And obviously it's something where, like, if SolSniper is talking about, hey, we got this big project that we're excited that's coming out, blah, 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 they're coming on our launch pad, whatever, and then they rug or whatever, obviously that's a bad look for you guys, even though it's not like you guys were the ones that rugged it, right? So how do you try to prevent that so that, like, 404s can really, like, do their thing, while at the same time understanding that, like, it's a bad look on the entire 404 industry when something like that happens. And I know you can never prevent everything, but I guess like what have you guys learned from the last few months, because it's been obviously interesting?
Yeah, so like a couple of things I would say is like, first off with the trees thing, right? That was an official SolSniper launch. That was like a project that like tweeted out like, oh, we're partnered with SolSniper. Like similarly, like they tweeted out they were partnered with a bunch of other companies and like influencers as well, right? And then like unfortunately we like gave them a retweet. So that was all that was. Like that wasn't an official launch. In terms of like the things that we do for our launch pad to like ensure like safety, right, is like we have all the projects doxed. We like don't give them the funds right away. We kind of like vest the funds out slowly over like a certain time period, right? So like those are just like a couple like precautions that we take. I think like fluffies is like an example where like maybe some people are calling them a rug or whatever, but they're not a rug. It's just like, it's a project that had a ton of hype, a ton of excitement, a ton of anticipation that I think quite frankly like wasn't able to deliver on that. But that's very hard for a first time project founder to be able to do, right? It's like, to me, it's all like that rug is almost more similar to like the season 3 art upgrade than it is like anyone rugging. So I would just say it's like the way I kind of look at it is like it's the market. We're gonna have projects that fail, but hopefully we'll have lots of projects that succeed as well. And I think that in terms of like us at Sniper, like preventing rugs, like that's definitely something where like our community is like super on top of things, right? Like, so one of the really interesting things that happened with trees, right, is one of our community members was actually like streaming live at the time, and they're like, yeah, I don't think I want to put money into this. This looks like a rug. And then actually what's crazy is like no one within the Sniper community actually like got by trees. So I think it's one of those things where like kind of as like the market matures, right, and as the market gets smarter, they'll kind of figure out like this is a rug, this isn't a rug. And we've seen that over time with like the NFT markets, for example. Like Balloonsville was a big like learning lesson in like kind of the history of like NFTs. And then like I think even like similarly like with just like projects that are failing, right, it's like they can learn from one another and like improve basically on like some of those like areas. So that's kind of the way I see it, like in terms of where we're at today is like, I know there's definitely been like kind of like ups and downs, but like at the same time, right, like even the OG projects that you guys may not have heard about, like Souls, right, a lot of people were saying Souls is a rug, right? And like they were at one point trading at 50 Sol and they went all the way down to 3. And so it's kind of like as we kind of continue to grow the collective mind share, I think there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but it's kind of like, it almost kind of goes back to what we were saying with DeGods is like it almost has to be some controversy. And like that kind of attention is still like more important and like grows the space more than like kind of like if we were to just do like a bunch of irrelevant launches that like no one cared about.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I think it's hard too, right? Because it's almost like, because it's in this like kind of medium of being a token, but also an NFT. It's like we've seen also with meme coins where there's meme coins that are trading really high for 3 months and then like huge dips or drop offs, whatever. And you don't hear about them for a while, or they're kind of like tucked away, and maybe they're sleepers, like whatever. And I definitely think that there's way more fluctuation right now still with meme coins on like those types of memes being able to like keep relevancy and then shoot back up if there's like a catalyst. And it's hard when it's NFT projects, because I feel like we've seen a bunch of NFT projects too in the last cycle that run up so quick, like right away. And then when they go down, it's so hard to chase that back up. And it'll be interesting to see like with 404s, if it's almost like, I don't want to say easier, but like if it is a little bit not as much of a difficulty to run back up, because you have the token side of it things as well, and you get more users through the token side, and if a lot of people are investing in the token, like that's going to kind of raise up the NFT as well. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if that plays out at all, where it's like, yeah, if you go up and then you go down, maybe you took a really big hit. If you have certain catalysts that come back up, it's like it runs again pretty quickly because you have that token side of things.
No, that's exactly kind of how I see it, right? Where it's like the point of hybrid DeFi is like we're building the rails here. We're not like actually a hybrid DeFi project, right? And so like kind of what I've seen, right? And I think Fluffy's actually proved this really well is like they ran up to like 15 Sol at one point, right? And it's like I couldn't tell you like the last NFT I've seen that like had that kind of run up, right?
No, definitely.
And it's one of those things where it's like I think it's because like the way I look at it is like the technical problem of like, okay, the current financial rails of NFTs aren't good enough. And now we see kind of like meme coins, and like when we think about meme coins, we think about it more like DeFi, right? Like with tokens, like that's a much slicker, smoother, faster rail where like you have access to more capital, more like users, more traders. Like a lot of people are using bots and things like that. And so like that's kind of the way we see it is like now that we put the NFTs on like better rails, right? That gives them a lot more ability to run up. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is kind of on the projects themselves to like create that hype and like create that kind of bullish energy and like sustaining that bullish energy. That's really hard. But I do think like in the long run, we're kind of like, because the way I see it is like the current like infrastructure for NFTs that isn't hybrid DeFi is just like this super like suppressed like points farming type market, right? And it's like really hard to see like actual like liquidity and volatility and price action and like even users, right? Like a lot of users have left NFTs, and so that's really kind of the way we look at it is like we're bringing the NFTs to where the users are, we're bringing the NFTs to where the liquidity is, and we're really kind of like giving them the like tools so that way they can succeed and run up. And then even if they go back down, right, like we believe that there's a lot more ability to run up again.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the reason why I'm bullish on the idea of 404s is because I think the first project that masters the ability to create demand for the actual token and not necessarily for the NFT, I think is going to be the one that runs. And, you know, obviously we've had a lot of talks with Amy Street over at GoGoNuts and like everything they're doing over there. My first question for her was like, yo, is your meme game going to be legit? Because like if it's not,
fair,
then again, like you have to create demand for the token, because if you do that, there's plenty of people who don't give a shit about the NFTs. Now there are plenty of people who care about the NFTs. If you can create inherent demand for both, or at least at a minimum create demand for the token, then people will trade it. And if people are trading the token, then, you know, there's going to be more people that are going, hey, like I'm down to trade this token or buy this token. I love the memes. I love the, you know, I'm in Telegram enjoying that. I think people really love Telegram. That's the other thing I've learned from this cycle. Like people really, when you're in,
because we're tired of the Discord bullshit. I mean, I've never liked Discord.
Discord fucking blows. But then also when you're in Telegram and you get the like big purchase that comes in and everybody's just like, let's go. And it's a mev bot for sure, but they just put in 80 Sol.
You're walking into the Telegram chats feeling like the man, Mark. You just put down 2 Sol on something.
You know, I see my purchase come through and they're like, hey, sir, listen, only purchases above 5 Sol show up. Tough. But no, I think it's like, I think people really love that at like the Telegram kind of mindset. And so again, it's like if a SPL 404 creates a ton of demand for their actual token because the memes are hilarious, blah, 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 and it creates an actual fan base around the token and the memes around that token, then inherently people will start to look into the NFT. And I think that is what I get excited about when it comes to 404s, because I think right now the attention in this whole ecosystem is on meme coins, right? And I don't think that's going to change overnight. And so with that, if you can create an SPL 404 where you actually have a full-on game plan marketing strategy of how you're going to blow up this meme coin, and you're going to make people loving the memes, they're going to love it, you know, all that kind of stuff, you're going to get the Telegram popping, all of that. If you master that, then you will have demand for that token, and if you have demand for it, the NFT will come afterwards in terms of like the demand for that. And again, they're going to go anyways because they're correlated. So if people are buying a shit ton of the token, then cool, the NFT is going up in value. So it's a win-win, and that's what I get excited about, because I think about the NFT projects. We love Mutai, right? But we don't really have a great way to show that off outside of literally just like drinking Mutai all the time, right?
I don't think Malta is a good example because they do have a good
physical
way of showing
product,
it off because of a physical product. But like, yeah, for a couple other tokens, it's like you can't really rep it, right? Like that's why Mog is really sick too, because it's like you have the moggles, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the whiff, like you have the hat if people want to like put a hat on their PFP or like whatever. Like a couple of them have like done really well with kind of like the accessories. But if you look at another token, it's like sometimes it's harder. If it's like a
Harambe, I love Harambe, but it's harder for me to show that I'm a diehard Harambe fan. But if I could take 1 million tokens of Harambe equals an NFT, then all of a sudden I can show off that I'm a huge fan of Harambe, right? So that's the part that I get excited about with 404s.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was really cool too, because like around the time of Fluffies, right? It's like, I mean, I went, just straight on Photon and fucking looked up Fluffies and like bought straight through that, and that was one of those things where it's just like, that's kind of been my, I don't know, that's kind of been my trading part recently, right? It's not like going and I'm like not going necessarily to like NFT marketplaces and buying a bunch of NFTs or anything like that. And that was one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to buy like maybe I'm not going to buy the NFT at 6 Sol when it ran up before it ran up to 15. But like, cool, I'm going to go throw like a 0.5 or 1 Sol, like straight on Photon, get it. And like, I could still make like a nice, cool little turn 1 Sol into 2 or 3 or something like that if it runs up, right? And I think just that experience of being able to do it that fast and utilize it like a token works. And I think to your point, like, with Gogonauts, for example, it's kind of like, or any project that comes out in the future, as far as like that's kind of like focused on the art a little bit as well. I think you have those people that like do get attached to like the aesthetic of art, and if you can kind of almost marry the people that get like attached to like the aesthetic of their art and maybe their PFPs, and then you have all the people that are really, really bullish around like the token itself and love the memes and all that sort of thing, and you like, create reasons for why people would want to like even swap back and forth and maybe go get like a re-roll, get a new piece of art, or maybe they get a 1 of 1 or whatever. I feel like the first few projects that are able to effectively kind of like marry those two parts and manage that, I think that's going to be a really successful 404, and then we'll kind of start like, I don't know, even just getting the ball rolling based off of that, because I think that's where a lot of the not only the attention and the relevancy, but a lot of where just like why someone would care about your project. I think like those things alone just like make it go crazy.
100%. And I think again, it's like we have to try new shit. Like, I mean, and I think that's why people should be bullish on 404s in general, is because we can't just be sitting here trying to run back the same playbook of the 2022 NFT cycle. Like, we have to try new things. It's 2024. Who knows what happens with 404s? I believe strongly that they're going to crush. But if they don't, who knows? Maybe something else comes up out of it. Maybe somebody else has a better idea of how to build on top of the tech. Yeah. It's like, again, that's how we improve in this whole world, is by putting out something, trying it, seeing what the feedback is, learning from that, critique, making, adoptions and moving modifications and everything like that, and getting into the next generation of whatever that ends up being. So again,
listen, Mark, you're making a little bit too much sense right now.
Yeah, you like
for
that?
Crypto Twitter, and like they don't want this
They
like
don't
little
want that.
feedback loop. Listen,
No.
you better hit it right on the mark the first time.
Fair.
Max knows he gets some of that. He gets some of that feedback. And do you have haters, Max? Do you have people that are like, yo, Max, what the fuck? Like,
No, not really.
no,
Like,
you don't get like the Frank level of like.
No,
You're
no,
like,
I'm
thank
too irrelevant.
God.
No, I'm too irrelevant. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like, we definitely get like, some like angry people when it's like, oh, like, I aped in like all my life savings into this thing and it went to zero. It's like, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't tell you to do it.
Not your whole life savings.
Yeah. So it's like, there's
Max,
like,
I told you not to dox our conversations. Like, that's fucked up, man. I told you not to. That was all my money, man. I got nothing else.
like there's the occasional that, but like I think genuinely, like, from where we are like in this market, is like, I think we're building something that is a really big and strong net positive for the entire NFT ecosystem. Like, we really see like this is like this, the story, like when we go back like 10 years from now, 100 years from now, and we look at the history of NFTs, like,
Holy
it can't
shit.
end at, oh, we had Blur points farming and that was it, and then like all the NFTs died and went to zero. That's what I believe. Like, that's what I do it for.
That's fire.
Listen,
That's fire. I love that energy.
yeah, I
We
mean,
can't look back and blur is the last thing of NFTs.
Yeah, it's like that's what happened. Is like points farming
fuck
got
that.
invented, and we all went to zero. And
Fuck
like,
the points. We coming back.
yeah, dude, I think this is the way to do it. Like,
Make
like
NFTs great again.
we bring all of the great things of like the broader crypto community, and we like insert NFTs into it. Like that's kind of like my whole thesis for this, and like I think it's like we're really close. I think. Like Fluffy's proved some really amazing things, right? They did $70 million of trading volume the first day,
going crazy.
right? And the other crazy thing about Fluffy's was like they were able to basically sell out 7,400 Sol. It's like the things that I think about is like what NFT mint today is able to like who's minting a 10K 1 Sol PFP project and selling out 10K Sol. I don't really see that happening, right? So right now with Slap City actually beat Fluffy's in that they got, I think, almost 2.5K Sol in the first hours. Fluffy's was 1, right? And then the second part that made me really bullish about like hybrids and 404s was Fluffy's did $70 million of trading volume the first 24-hour period, and that's from people like you on Photon putting in $1, right? And it's like that's the
I
bet.
wasn't putting in $1.
he called you a broke bitch.
Hey, you just lost all your money, your life savings head ass. You're a broke podcaster now. Relax. At least I had $1 and I made it on Fluffies. You know what I'm
I
saying?
genuinely believe though it's like there's 100 to 1,000 times more of those people that would love to trade this asset, right? But it's like, fuck, dude. Like I can't. Mad Lads is 60 Sol. I don't have 60 Sol. Now I can't trade Mad Lads.
But it's like, you know that there's probably like catalysts for that where it's just like, oh, I could see this going from 60 to 90 and I would love to bet on it.
But I can't.
And like betting on the token is kind of like a bet for that.
Yes.
And it's also cool because I feel like, you know, during the last cycle, we had this conversation a lot of like the whole supply part of NFTs where people were like, oh, like is 10,000 too little? There's more than 10,000 people in the world and like all this sort of stuff. If you want people to get in on the IP, you had some projects that came out that were like 20,000 fucking supply and shit like that, right? But like there was that conversation around like, all right, like how does your brand grow if you're limited to 10,000 items?
Right.
And now it's kind of like, okay, if you have this token, your brand grows because people can get in from the token and invest whatever they want. And potentially, hopefully, that also turns the 10,000 assets that much more valuable because that's kind of like the next goal. Like, it's like if you could get enough to like be able to get that or like get enough tokens to get it into the NFT or whatever and then be able to rep it. But it kind of, to me, it kind of, this is the first step in kind of solving that aspect of like trying to get more people in your brand and NFT project without them necessarily having to hold a specific NFT, but they still get to rep and be a part of it.
It's a true tokenized community. Instead of now I'm going to make my baby brand that's going to be for the poor kids that can now get in a little bit, right? Like now it's like we can truly tokenize the community. Let's skip the 10K to 20K to 30K and let's go straight for like now we can have 100K holders and it's whatever, right? And the people that are holding the most, the biggest whales, those are the ones with the NFTs and like they can show their support. That's so smart. I think that's like one aspect of it that I really love is like this like hyper financialization of NFTs and like I think it's gonna work. That's our bet. And then I think the other half of it is like how do we make the NFTs like relevant, right? Because then I think one like because it's I think Marc was the one that kind of said it is like we just got to try shit and then like get the feedback and then make it better, right? And at least for like us it's like
from Frank, try some shit,
some shit. Yeah, exactly. But my point is like with Fluffies, I think it really proved out that like hyper financialization thesis, right? And then I think kind of the next step we're looking at is like couple things that we noticed, right? Was like everybody was just like trading out of the NFTs and like into the tokens, right? And it's like how do we really like make those NFTs like really like desirable? And so that was one of the reasons why we actually chose Slap City to launch is because they had a real utility for the NFTs. So now with their NFTs, they can go and play a game and the NFTs are a playable character. And those NFTs as playable characters, they can basically upgrade those characters within the game. And those characters like can have like more Riz and then they can perform better on their missions and things like that. So I think that's like one direction where it's like, I think the gaming aspect, the gamification of the NFTs, even like kind of with the mutant Maanz style. Like one thing that they've really done well for hybrid DeFi was that they gamified the re-rolling of the NFTs. So now I can get a more rarer Pokemon, right? And so I think that's like basically the two sides of the equation that like we're constantly iterating towards. And like I'm really excited to see how Slap City goes. And I think we'll probably have a couple other launches like after that, but we kind of take it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, I think it's I think it's exciting. The only thing I'm gonna propose, because right now NFTs are not hot. We all know that. When we bring them back and we make them hot again, can we change the name to like Magic JPEGs or something? Like, can we just? I hate the term NFTs. I just hate it.
Honestly,
like, man, you're gonna love $sign NFT, bro.
I'm gonna have
that I will.
I'm gonna have
that I will.
I'm gonna have a completely opposite take. I think this cycle, people just need to digest the fact that it's a fucking NFT and like, that's it. We've been trying to call it all digital collectible, JPEGs and magic internet money and all. And like, I just think it's like, yo, it's an NFT. That's what it is. Here.
Yeah, I just, God, I hate
that.
It's
hard to say because I do believe in the like, once it kind of sticks, it just is what it is, right? Like for a while, like the hybrid DeFi was called hybrid DeFi, and now it's kind of
fractionalization.
Yeah, but for that it's just like whatever sticks is what we call it. And I think it's like I think NFTs, the word has hit that escape velocity. I'm with you. It's like I was kind of like on the digital assets, digital collectibles train, but it's like, fuck, man, like they just want to call it NFT.
But I gotta clarify, I'm not on that train. Like I don't want digital collectibles. It's just more of like,
but like calling them JPEGs to me, I'm just like, I mean, people know what JPEGs are, but then people don't know that you're referring to like
JPEGs on
blockchain.
The internet.
That's why I said
like
you gotta call them magic JPEGs. They're different.
Oh, magic means they're on the blockchain.
They're magic.
Someone's gonna think it's just what the fuck.
It's the reality of it is, I think one of the things that we have to do to make crypto more digestible to the average consumer is we have to find a way to just make our terminology easier to understand, or at least like make it where our terms don't just get made fun of. And because like, for example, most people don't know what DVD stands for or CD stands for or whatever, but you don't necessarily make fun of those. When the tech came out, they didn't make fun of those.
Why would they make fun of a fucking a DVD?
Well, I don't know, but again, it's like we have to find a way to make the shit that we
I'm
create
actually bullish on them making fun of NFTs, because that means anytime they see the word NFT, some sort of way they're going to get triggered, and they're going to get triggered enough times that they're going to be like, bro, what the fuck is an NFT? And they're going to look into it.
Oh, I disagree. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think we have to overcome a lot of the sentiment on crypto and NFTs. And I mean, again, you watch the Tom Brady roast. Like one of the things they like still made fun of crypto, and it's like
made fun of crypto.
We have a long way to go in overcoming some of these different things. I just think maybe we stick with the term NFT, sure. But okay, if we can't change it, we're too late.
We're too late.
As we create new things, can we make the terms easier for people to understand? That's all I'm asking. So you don't want to
call it like fucking Eigen L1?
I just think like terms is just kind of like the way I kind of see it is like it's like a evolving like collective consciousness. And it's just like they like those words will like then evolve to like what the broader community wants to call it. One really interesting like case of this is like for tokens, like they all call it CAs, contract address. What's interesting on Solana is like technically they're not contract addresses, they're token addresses. Like CAs, like that comes from Ethereum, but that's just what they all call it there.
Sticks.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like to me, I just kind of like trust the market to figure these things out. I don't necessarily like, hate on like what we are at today. And I think like what's interesting is like a lot of normies, like they like hate crypto. They think it's a scam. They think NFTs are a scam, right? But I also think like, I think a lot of people felt the same way, or maybe not exactly the same way, but they felt similar about like the internet when it first started. It's like, oh, it's this like weird little thing. Like, so that's kind of the way I see it is like, I think it's like I'm not trying to say like crypto is like the internet, right? I know a lot of people make that comparison, Web 2, Web 3. But I do think that it's like it is what it is, and like as the market matures and as more normies come on board, they'll come up with more like normie terms for things.
I'm looking forward to that. You know, a word I'm glad has died. Like no one's really saying it right now.
What?
DAO. Glad we're done with that.
Like DAOs and DApps.
I can get down with DApps more than anything because like DApps, at least you're just adding a D onto a word that they already know.
It's a website.
Yeah,
bro,
but
It's a
DAO,
website.
DAO. Are you really gonna get?
Bro, everybody's DAO was just a fucking group chat that they
Yeah.
didn't want to
Right.
call a group chat.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we when we make things unnecessarily difficult to understand, and then you?
I'll
try to-
agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's like-
DAOs was like
DAOs was
bro,
trash, and like
everybody wanted
DAOs
to be a
was
DAO,
trash.
bro.
yeah,
like,
DAOs was hot trash. Like,
everybody like started up a group chat somewhere, whether it was Discord or Twitter, and was like, all right, 70 people in here. This
DAO.
is the blah 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 DAO. This is
Yeah,
welcome
yeah.
to Marc DAO.
Yeah.
Marc Colcer's DAO.
well, nope, I never made those. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward. And you know what? I'm gonna say this.
Well,
I'm looking.
keep looking forward.
I'm looking forward
We're
to
in
the
present.
Zoomers. I'm looking forward to the Zoomers
It's
coming
coming.
in
It's
and
coming.
just changing the names of some of this shit. And we just have to. Our 31-year-old asses. I don't know how old are you?
27.
27. Okay, you're old enough. I'm looking forward to the Zoomers, the 19-year-olds, the 20-year-olds coming in and going, hey, you know what? We like crypto now, but these terminology that you guys are using, that term sucks. That term sucks. Here's what we're calling it now. Accept it. I'm looking forward to them because I think
It's
they'll come up with
happening.
better terms
no,
than we
fair.
got.
I mean, like,
terms suck.
rappers used to be called MCs.
Yeah.
Now they're called rappers. So I mean, like, that was it. Like,
I think it'll get cooler.
things
I go on
changed, yeah.
Instagram these
Sometimes
days
they get
and
called
I see
pedophiles.
the meme coin people are on Instagram.
Jesus.
Do you guys see
Christ.
that?
What'd you say?
Like on Instagram, they'll have like clips of people showing you how to make meme coins and like how you opening Phantom Wallet. You guys see-
Wait. Those
What
are on.
the fuck?
Those are on.
What Instagram are you on?
Yeah, I'm on
That's
Instagram.
wild.
And I'll see like some kid like, this is how I made $100,000, and then he's opening Phantom and
That
like
kid's
Pump
rugging me?
On. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like
Yeah.
the youth is coming, dude. Like I think Mark, like this is gonna happen
The
faster.
youth
than
is
you
on
think.
Pumped Off Fun.
Yeah.
Fucking putting out a new token every day.
Yes, dude.
And we're the ones blindly aping.
The youth is making all the crazy shit that Patty Fies is aping into on a regular basis. Oh
Shout
man,
out to Patty.
Shout out Patty. Love that
He
man.
low-key a meme coin king.
He really is. He really is. It's amazing to watch. But yeah, I mean, I think we wrap it up with this. Like, bullish on 404s, bullish on everything that you guys are doing, and excited to see how it makes NFTs. I'll say it. Okay?
NFTs great again.
Make
Say
NFTs
it.
great again.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's
So,
go. Wait, before we end this, Max,
Yes.
I do have a present for you.
Oh, there we go. Present time.
What is it?
It's something fire, and it's something for you
Really?
specifically. Are we on camera?
Oh, I mean, you will be as you get closer to him. Well, now you are. Now you are. You're on that camera.
What's the gift?
Sonny's opening the bag. ASMR if you can hear the bag being opened.
Wow.
There it is. There
Wow.
it is.
Holy shit, what is this?
Bro, look on the back. You tell me. Wow. This is the DeGods Letterman.
There we go.
I had to get you right, Max.
DeGods Letterman?
Bro, day one,
Those
all the support.
the Zoomers are going to say you got that drip.
Oh, dude, I got that. Can I try it on?
Of
yeah,
course, yeah,
man.
dude.
No,
dude,
you're not allowed to wear it. There it is.
Hey, yo.
There it is.
Damn, bro.
Look at that. Look at that.
look cool?
Oh, you look
Oh,
fresh
you
as
look-
hell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, that looks fire. I already know this is about to be Max's new jacket.
When you-
I'm already
If
knowing.
you pull up to pickleball in that, I mean,
hey, yo.
people, they're not going to be playing with you on the court.
Hell yeah, bro.
There we go.
Of course.
Thank you
man.
so much.
Of course, man.
I appreciate that.
Shout out to SolSniper.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Friends,
Appreciate
just friends of DeGods,
friends of DeGods,
Swear.
friends of ours.
friends of ours. Like, yeah, of course. I mean, that just comes with the territory. You know,
That's
we're
facts.
DeGods. You know,
That's facts.
we're friends.
We're friends.
We're gonna go play pickleball. Actually, like
Let's go play. Yeah.
Max is apparently playing every day this summer. So like,
Listen,
we got to join him.
When I say he's playing every day, though, that means he's going to whoop your ass.
I'm very serious.
When I say your ass, though.
Okay,
I
me
mean-
and Max versus you and Loop. We're fucking.
Oh,
cashing
no,
out.
that's
Yeah.
0% chance you guys win that.
I'll kill
Oh,
you, bro.
Yeah.
No, bro.
I will literally kill you.
Shout out to Rod.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We give a man a Jackie, he threatens to kill me right afterwards. That's crazy. This is why YouTube, takes down our monetization. Because that clip right there.
So quick with that too.
When it comes to pickleball, I don't mess
you
around.
not fucking with me on the court.
Okay, what's your rating? What's your rating?
I'm not ready.
Oh, okay.
What's your rating? You got a 2K rating for pickleball?
That's not
What's your rating?
2K is
Yeah,
not
what's
how
your- what's your
it's not-
rating?
It's a point scale.
Yeah,
Oh, is there an actual
What is your
pickleball
rating?
rating?
Yeah, there
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
There is.
What's the pick? How do you determine pickleball rating?
There is to be fair.
I
Like
think there's,
there's an actual
tournaments and
scale.
stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Like people, what is the highest? Is 5?
I think it's like 5.0 something.
And
like
they're
So you're
insane.
like 0.1.
No, I'm probably a 3.
There's no way you're a 3.
No, but
on a scale of 5.
you don't understand the difference between a 4 and a 5 is crazy. Like 3 is I'm good. Like I am good. But like 4 and 5s are nuts.
You're
Like,
like you're like a 1.5.
dude, I played with a guy in North Carolina
I'd give you
who
2,
was a
but,
5,
like,
and he was so good that he played left-handed and only hit it between his legs going up against us because he
Really?
was that good. It was like,
And he still whooped you?
oh hell yeah, it was insane. I mean, he was just hitting shit that I was like, I don't know how you just did that. Like it is insane. But
I'm trying to get to that level though, because
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like I could legitimately play pickleball for like 50 years.
it's so fun.
So I was like, bro, like I think this is like,
Hey, that's kind of bullish.
bro,
Yeah.
every day, meet me at the court. This
Meet
is
you
an
at the
open invitation to all of crypto Twitter in LA. Like, come play
Hey,
pickleball
yo.
with me.
Okay,
There we go.
bet.
There we go.
Now we're pulling up.
We're pulling up.
We're
Yeah, dude.
me and Max are definitely whooping you. In
Okay,
we're
but
definitely
we're
whooping
targeting
you.
your big ass every time.
Target me. I'm fucking about to be a 3.33
3.33 rating in pickleball.
So
Hell
get
yeah.
the fuck off me, Mark. Just wait. I just need a few practices, and I'm gonna go. Past
How you gonna fix your slow feet?
My slow feet?
Yeah, you got slow feet.
Do I?
You got heavy legs.
I don't need. I listen. I will have attributes in other ways. I got long arms. I get
dude.
way more on the court
No,
than you
no, no.
do.
What was that move?
He can stand outside the kitchen line and fucking
Yeah.
dunk on you, bro.
Look at that.
until I hit it
Outside
his feet.
the kitchen line.
His
What's
big ass
up?
didn't get down
No,
there.
dude, because he's long, dude.
He doesn't
can
even
just-
know the term kitchen.
He can just stand
Oh, I know
outside the kitchen
line.
and
I know
just,
where the kitchen line is at. Don't worry. I'm about to dunk on you. You remember last time you took a pickleball to the face? I'm doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he took a pickleball to play.
Loop smacked me right in the face.
Really?
We
Yeah.
got it on camera too. It was crazy.
Right in the face. Right in the
Oh,
face.
man.
Yeah, it was tough.
I'm down, dude.
Yeah, we're playing.
I'm pickling after this, actually.
Well,
so.
we have another podcast we got to run, but
I'm
but we-
pickling tomorrow too.
Okay. Oh,
We gonna get our pickle on. Pause.
there's
I'm
nobody
trying
I'd
to
rather
pickle.
pickle with than you three. Or you
I'd
two,
love to
okay?
pickle with you
Yeah,
guys.
I'd love to.
We're gonna have a great pickle summer.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And with that said, this is another episode of D Weekly.
Wait. One last
Jesus.
question. Max, what is your favorite song right now?
My-
Because we've heard all the lore of like all your everybody that works for you at SolSniper. They're always like, yo, Max and his music,
Oh,
Max
okay.
and his music, Max and fucking like he's always playing the ratchet shit. And
Yeah.
we've related to that. So
Facts.
what's your favorite song? What's the one on repeat right now?
Right now on repeat, I got Like That and
Okay.
Not Like Us. Those are the two.
Fair.
But really, my favorite is Like That. I
Okay.
just love it. I don't know. Fuck the big three. It's just big me. I
Yeah.
just listen to that on repeat like every day right now.
My favorite bar from that is
No one asked. Who asked
I'm
that?
still balling like a championship game.
yeah.
Wait,
Nice.
what? That's a Chameleonaire line.
What's that?
That's Chameleonaire.
That's also Future and like that.
Well, but okay,
and the
but that,
motto
but
stayed
that
the same. Balling like you won a championship
Yeah.
game.
isn't it Ring?
What?
Isn't the line Ring?
What are you talking about?
Championship Ring. Isn't it Ring?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you
I think it is Ring.
Is it ring?
I think it might be actually.
And the motto's still the same. Balling like you won a championship game.
No, I'm pretty
You
sure.
tell
it's-
me.
I'm
Is
pretty
it
sure
Ring?
it's Ring.
I think it might be
Yeah.
Ring.
Yeah.
Is it? No, it's
man,
not.
I'm finding it right now.
His favorite line.
I'm finding this.
You
right
It's
don't
okay.
even
This
have a-
happens to me all the
You
time.
don't even have a favorite line, so it's all right, Mark.
No, I
Like,
don't have a favorite line. I'm
yeah,
sorry I
'cause
didn't
you
come
don't have
prepped
bars.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't come prepped with that.
Listen,
I
when
do
you just
love
love
rap
the
music.
music,
Yeah.
you just have certain bars that stick out to you. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Max
that Bay
knows.
Area in us.
Yeah, you know, Mark wouldn't understand. He's from Detroit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know
No,
what
it's
I'm
a
saying?
Bay Area thing. To
Detroit has stolen so much stuff
Oh,
from
okay.
the Bay Area.
You're right. It is
Yeah,
game.
I am
It is
right.
game. It is
I've
game.
listened to the
It is
song a
game.
lot. I know what I'm
Oh,
talking
but
about.
you also thought he also thought in Drake's song.
No, I
it was-
didn't. I didn't think. I just took it for myself that I just want to keep it peachy.
Okay, no. He thought the lyric was just trying to keep it peachy, and it's PG.
Yeah, but I like peachy.
Okay,
I want to
okay.
keep it peachy.
Whatever. I heard game. You heard rent. Or you heard rent. You heard.
I don't even know.
Now
Yeah,
I'm
it's
screwed
just
up.
not- it's
Yeah.
just-
All right.
You from
all right.
Detroit.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm cutting this episode
Fuck
before
the
this party
Lions.
even goes. Okay. Fuck you too. Okay. This is why all of our episodes get demonetized. Okay. Not that we get anything from YouTube anyway. They give us like $1.50. Anywho, that's the episode. Shout out to you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Shout out. Thanks for coming on, Max.
Yeah, thanks
We
for having me
appreciate
on.
Shout out you, Max.
And
Fuck Sony.
And shout out to Sniper.
Shout out
Sniper
Sniper.
gang.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.